Hi viewers, welcome back to Afri Fashion TV. In this video, I'm going to show you one of the easiest ways of actually cutting a short. So if that is what you're interested in, continue watching. First, I'm going to come down by 1 inch at this topmost part. So I'm just going to measure 1 inch like this. Next, I'm going to connect the points using my straight rule. Okay, so at this vertical part, I'm also going to come in by 1 inch. Using my straight rule, I'm going to connect all the points. Yes. So this horizontal line is going to be my waistline, and then from there I'm going to take my crotch depth. To actually get your crotch depth, you want to divide your hip circumference by 4. So I'm working with a hip circumference of 40 inches. If I divide that by 4, I'm going to have 10 inches. So placing my tape here, I'm going to measure 10 inches. Next, I'm going to get the total length of this short. I want it to be 16.5 inches. Then I'm going to add 2 inches for hem allowance. To be very accurate, I like to do the same thing at this other part. So still placing my tape here, I'm going to impute my crotch depth. Remember, I did my hip circumference divided by 4, 10 inches, then the total length of this short, 16.5 inches, and then 2 inches, allowance. So I'm just going to connect the points like this. So at this crotch depth line, I'm going to impute quarter of my hip circumference. I'm working with a hip measurement of 40 inches, and quarter of that is going to give me 10 inches. So placing my tape at this line, I'm just going to measure 10 inches like this. I'm also going to impute the same value at this waistline. Next, I'm going to connect the points like this. Okay, so still at this crotch depth line, I'm going to impute half of my thigh measurement. So I'm working with a thigh measurement of 24 inches. If I divide that by 2, I'm going to have 12 inches. So I'll measure 12 inches starting from this line, like this, and impute the value here. Then I'm going to connect it to this line using a curve. And to actually get a good curve, I'm going to measure the value I have from this line to the point here, which is 2 inches. I'm going to mark that 2 inches at this other line like this. Then I'm going to come out by 1 inch like this. Then I'm going to use my curve rule to connect the points. So at this waistline, I'm going to impute quarter of my waist measurement. So from here, I'm just going to measure 8 inches, which is quarter of my waist measurement and I'll mark that point here. Next, I'm going to connect this point to the crotch line using a curved rule. Alright, so next, I'm going to measure the total value I have at this crotch depth line, and I'm having 12 inches. So I'm going to reduce that by 1 inch. So if I reduce 12 inches by 1 inch, I'm going to have 11 inches. Now I'm going to place that 11 inches at the total length of the short. Like this. I'm also going to mark the same value at the hem allowance. Next, I'm going to connect the point to this crotch curve like this. Okay, then at this waistline, I'm going to come down by 1 inch from this part. So placing my tape like this, I'm going to measure 1 inch down. Next, I'm going to connect it to this point. So I'm just going to connect it like this. Then, at this part, I will be adding ½ an inch for joining allowance. So I'm just going to measure ½ an inch like this, and also measure the same ½ an inch at this point. Then use my straight rule to connect the points together. Alright, so next I'm just going to connect this to meet the new line, like this. And that is it for the front part. I'm going to cut out. So this is the front piece. Now I did not add side allowance to this front part. I'm going to do that to the back part, and the allowance I will be adding to the back will be enough for the back and the front. So for the front part, I actually have 2 pieces. Now we're going to cut the back. So to cut the back, I'm actually going to come in vertically by 1 inch. So from this center fold, I'm just going to mark 1 inch inwards. Next, using my straight rule, I'm going to connect the points together. So next, I'm going to get one of the front pieces, and I'm going to place it like this. Now while placing it, I'm going to ensure that I have enough space at the top, at least about 2.5 inches, but to be on the safe side, you want to do 3 to 3.5 inches. So just ensure that you have enough space. So at this top, I have about 2.5 inches, and I'm going to work with that. So placing my front piece like this, I want to ensure that the crotch depth line is touching this vertical line you have here. After doing that, I'm going to extend this crotch depth line like this, just like I've done. Then at this point, I'm going to impute 2.5 inches. To calculate the value you want to impute here, you want to divide your hip circumference by 16. I'm working with a hip circumference of 40. If I divide that by 16, I'm going to have 2.5 inches. So that's why I'm imputing 2.5 inches here. I'm just going to mark it like this. So this is the allowance I will be adding at the back. And the essence of adding allowance at this back part is because we have the butt here. This allowance is going to accommodate the butt at the back part. So you're just going to measure the 2 inches like this, 2.5 inches rather, like this. You do that until you get to the top part, like so. Alright, so I'm going to use my straight rule first to connect the point. Then at this curved part, I'm just going to curve it. Like this. Then, at this hem part, I will be adding 2 inches. I'm going to reduce the value by ½ an inch. So I'm going to impute 2 inches here. Then I'm going to connect it to this part like so, using a slanted line. So going back to the waistline, remember we removed 1 inch from the front piece. So I'm going to replace that 1 inch. Starting from this line, which is the main line, not the allowance line. So I'm going to replace that 1 inch like this, and then connect it to this back part. Then at this back part, I'm also going to add another 1 inch. Next, I'm going to connect it to this point. So I replaced the 1 inch that we removed in the front part, then I added another 1 inch at the back piece. Now I'm going to connect it to this point, like this. Alright, so you connect this part to meet the new line. So after doing that, I'm going to add ½ an inch for joining allowance at this part, like so. I'm going to connect it like this. So that is it for the back piece. Next, you want to cut out. Alright, so these are the back pieces. If you enjoyed this video, please like, comment below, and then share. I'm going to see you in my next video. Thank you.